Hello, besties. Happy Friday. And today I'm so excited because there's nothing better than sit back and have a great conversation about how we relax at home by watching Bravo TV and all their dramatics. Uh, Today we have a special guest. She is an expert on self care, lifestyle blogger, and especially a Bravo fan and a Bravo content creator. Today I have Candy Washington, and we are gonna have a conversation that is gonna give us the Namaste bitches vibes. So here is Candy. How are you, Candy?
Hello, Eddie. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. So quick story. I saw Candy on it was kind of like a Bravo content meetup at Real Andy of Beverly Hills YouTube, and I was like, Candy knows everything about Bravo TV and with the receipts. And that's how I like a conversation. You have to bring the knowledge and the receipts.
Yes.
So, Candy, let's start
Yeah.
by saying I'm so happy that you are here. I love your social media platforms.
Thank you.
I've been watching your videos about self care and all this and Bravo news. I've been
Yay.
watching. If I'm gonna have a guest,
Oh.
I wanted to know that I do appreciate you guys for coming on my show and especially you, Candy. That
Yeah,
I literally just reached out to you. You said like, yeah, let's do it, and
of
I
course.
appreciate that.
Anybody who reads out, let's do it. Like, why not? Good vibes only.
That's right. Goodbye only. That's right. Um,
Mhm.
I was gonna ask you, what was the first Bravo show that you started watching?
Oh,
First one ever.
oh gosh. I think my first Bravo show was The Real Housewives of OC. The
Okay.
very first one I got pretty heavily into.
Oh my gosh, I
Yeah.
still remember those days of like screaming because a family van or a bus
Exactly.
was.
Exactly. This isn't a family van. I love Vicky.
The
She
good
was
old days of
wild.
reality TV.
Those were the good old days. Or when Heather Dubrow was like, "You touched my cake, Terry. She touched my cake," and like that was like, whoa. Now it's just like, oh my god, you're a white supremacist.
That's right. Oh gosh, that is.
Like,
I mean that it shows how society has
oh my
changed through
god.
the reality TV. I mean we see those changes when we used to laugh about table flipping and all the stuff, and nowadays we have to analyze that and be like, okay, maybe that was not as funny as we thought it was.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
agree with that.
and talking about problematic, crazy season, let's talk about Beverly Hills because this
Okay.
season was intense. And I know that even though it's over and it's packed and in the past, we have PTSD from it because we watched a very intense season. I want to talk about it with you because that's how I
Yeah.
know I first met you, like through Real Andy. It was a conversation about Beverly Hills, and it's hard to not talk about it if we
Hmm.
are talking about Bravo because Beverly Hills is a staple, even though it's allegedly on a pause.
I'm pause. I'm ready to talk about it. What do you want to talk about? Shoot me a question, or you just want me to go?
Yes. First question: what did you think about the dynamic of this season, like between the groups? Like, because let's be honest, this season was
Hmm.
very obvious that the split of the group was even more intense the previous seasons. We have Garcelle and Sutton. We had Crystal even joining their like team, especially towards the end of the season, and then we have Lisa Rena and Erica and Kyle obviously in the read, but then towards the end, the dynamic shift when the whole Kathy Hilton and Aspen happened. What do you think was like the dynamic for you in this show?
Yeah, I think the dynamic was showing in the show more so people started to notice it, but I've always known the situation, the strategy, and the alliances. It's always been very clear to me because I always look at the shows from a point of view of the human experience, and people usually operate from a place of what's in it for me. So this season you can really see the work showing, I think, because there's social media, there's bloggers, there's YouTubers, there's podcasters So now we're getting the tea, we're getting the behind the scenes, we're getting everything exposed so early on that it's harder for them to lie and manipulate and create fake storylines about people, because now the work is showing. We can say, no, you're lying. No, this is what happened. No, how come you're being hypocritical about this or that? And I think that the real alliance formed, the Fox Force 5, was when they wanted to get rid of LVP. And that was seasons ago. That's when that really formed to take her down. And then we've seen that group evolve a bit when Teddy got fired and she no longer had the diamond. Then they brought in Dirty Diana to do the dirty work. Then Crystal was a pick me and she wanted to join the group. Sutton wasn't invited to join the group. Obviously, Garcelle wasn't either. But they sort of got together to say, hey, we're going to have each other's back. We're going to have this allegiance. We're going to have this alliance. I won't go against you. You don't go against me. I know your secrets. You know mine. Mutually assured destruction. And we saw that happen with this season when Dorit was, kind of pushing back with Erica and the whole Aspen thing, when she was like, oh, you're doing the most, you need to push back. And Erica looks at her and she goes, well, I really hate for you to find yourself in my position. And to me, that was a veiled threat. Like, I know where your skeletons are. I know where the bones are buried. You come for me again, I'm going to start to spill your tea. And then we saw after that all these blind items and exclusives coming out about Dorit having connections with Diana and the bankruptcies and Barclays Bank. And then the whole, is Dorit cheating with Mauricio, blah, 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 blah. So I think it was very clear that they had an alliance versus what I think we actually like on the show, which is friendships. And we see the friendships with like Garcelle and Sutton. That's why it's fresh. That's why they can be loyal to each other and have each other's back. But it doesn't seem hypocritical. It doesn't seem strategic. It's like, this is just my friend and I'm having her back. Where with the other women, the energy is very much, we have an alliance. And that's different from having a friendship.
And it's so interesting that you
Yeah.
mentioned Dorit and Erica because I went to BravoCon, right? And you
Okay.
know that from BravoCon, we had that also like moment when Erica said like, "Oh, Dorit and PK are the next couple to break up in the Bravo universe." And you mentioned something that I didn't even think
Mhm.
about it after Dorit kind of try to like walk away or like make Erica to like think about what she's saying, all this Dorit story starting to like leak. So I'm like,
Yep. She said it. And then when you also think about what, do I have an echo? Can you hear it or am I good?
no, you're good.
I'm good. Okay, perfect. Okay. So it's, and also when you think about what Lisa Rinna alleged Kathy Hilton said, which I think is a bunch of BS. Personally, I'm team Kathy on this. I think everything that Lisa Rinna said was projection. And she said Dorit was like a useless idiot. She doesn't really do anything. And I think where that's coming from is that Lisa Rinna and Erica Jane feel like they have to stir the pot. They bring the drama. Everybody's using Erica Jane in Tom Girardi's fraud case as, for storylines to go against her. And Lisa Rinna, as we know, she has nothing going on in her own life that she actually wants to expose when she has a lot going on, but she doesn't actually expose it. So she feels like, she stirs the pot, she brings up everybody else, and then Dorit kind of just floats along. Like Dorit knows about the dirt, but she doesn't want to get her hands dirty. And so I think they got kind of tired of that. And they're like, well, fine, if you're going to float on, you want the protection of the faux Fox 5. Well, we're going to start getting your hands dirty too. People are coming after us. They're going to start coming after you. So I think that's where we saw the division. And I also think a little bit of it is kind of a fake feud, but rooted in realness. Because I also think they knew that everyone was saying, we have to break up the faux Fox 5. We're tired of them. We have to break it up. So I think for a way for them to say, well, Bravo, don't get rid of us. Let's just pretend like we're beefing. So
Agreed.
I look at it at a couple of ways. I think Lisa Rinna and Erica were like, Dorit, you want our protection, but you don't get your hands dirty. I call her Ding Dong Dorit out of love. But I'm like, no, Ding Dong Dorit, you're just coasting. Like, she doesn't say anything. She doesn't do anything. She's just there. She's kind of annoying, whatever. Ding Dong Dorit, you're just there and you're coasting on our coattails. And I also think that they're like, well, instead of us actually fighting, let's do what we always do. Let's scheme and scam and lie and act like we're having this, feud to make it look like we're breaking up the faux Fox 5 when in reality we're still all in cahoots.
I agree. I just want to say hello, Elizabeth Hernandez, for joining the
Hi,
conversation. I appreciate the comments, but I agree with you 100%. There is something very interesting when it comes to the dynamics in Beverly Hills. And the last season showcased that part where that 4 Fox 5 is not sustainable anymore because
no.
it's draining the show. It's making the show unwatchable.
Yeah.
And people keep saying, "Oh no, viewers are just complaining too much. We love the 4 Fox 5." No, we
Mm-mm.
do not,
No, we don't.
because there's no franchise that survives with alliances. Because what happened is, it's like anyone that comes into the show as a new member or anybody else is gonna get the heat from this group to push
Mm-hmm.
them out, and we've seen it happening. We saw it with Denise. They tried it with Garcelle, and then they tried it with some because it didn't work. They went for Crystal, and
Yep.
now they say, okay, now we have to go, I guess, between each other. So there's some sort of drama in the show, and the so-called drama they had going on in the past few months is so basic and like trivial. It doesn't make any sense.
100%. It's so basic and trivial. And I also think the problem with alliances is that it just gets really stale and it takes the fun out of the show. It takes the authenticity out of the show. It's like when Erica and Lisa and Kyle are all trying to be producers, but they're not actually being housewives. That's when you get the cluster of crap that we saw this season, where they're lying at, like, first of all, Lisa Rinna literally said on camera, "I made up the storyline about Harry Hamlin and Garcelle and spaghetti sauce," which A, was already a stupid storyline to begin with, but B, she said on camera that she lied and made it up. But yet Bravo edited it out. And then later it was like a leaked scene. Why did you edit it out? Why didn't you show us that she was lying unless you were in on the lie? You know?
Agree.
But then all of a sudden, when Lisa Rinna fell out of favor, all of a sudden Bravo has these leaked, unseen footage scenes. So I think that, again, it's like the work is showing too much. We're seeing them lie, we're seeing them scheme, we're seeing them fake it. So now it's like, we know about all the stuff going on in your life. We know about the bankruptcies. We know about the frauds. We know about the rats in your houses. We know about the cheating allegations. We know about the mortgage in your house. We know about X, Y, and Z, but yet you're trying to front on the show like none of this is going on. Like, let's talk about the husband, right? But yet you want to deflect and make up stuff about other people. Shut Sutton all the way down. You try to come for Giselle, or not Giselle, Garcelle, and you couldn't come for the queen, and all of that stuff. And I think it just went way too dark, just way, way too dark. Like, it didn't need to go into racism. It didn't need to go into threats. It didn't need to go into homophobia. It didn't need to go into white supremacy. It didn't need to go there. And it's
Yes.
not the fans. Like, I was talking to shout out to one of my followers, young skinny rich. I was talking to them on Twitter about this, about the conversation about, is it the show that's got darker, or is it the viewers that are making it dark with their interpretation of what's going on? And I'm very much in the alignment of, it's the show, because we are reacting to the content that you're giving us. We're not creating the content.
Bingo.
And so if it wasn't this dark, we wouldn't be talking about it. And the show is darker than it's been in the past. Just like we were laughing and kikiing about, like, oh, it's a family van and you did the cake. And she said, what about my yacht? She said, what about my house? She said, what about my dress? Who's invited to the party? Like, that fun stuff. The show itself has gotten darker. And that's just is what it is. And I also think the appetite of the audience have shifted. One, because of, the lockdown and the pandemic and everything, we kind of had a moment to sit. And then the world itself got a little bit darker with everything going on. So it was like the last place we want to see the darkness is on TV shows that we're going to escape the darkness from. I don't want to be talking about trauma on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but that's what you're giving me.
And you said something very interesting, because I think the same way too. A lot of the shows outside Housewives are dramatic, but
Yeah,
they're not problematic. Like, I
exactly.
love shows like Family Karma.
Yep.
We have now we have Winter House. Yeah, they have some dramatic moments, but the level of problematic conversation is not any close
Mm-mm.
to Housewife, especially Beverly Hills,
Yep.
because I mean, like, it's truly intense the way that some of these women go against, you know, some of them, and not in the way that you're like, okay, this is what happened in real life. This is how people actually interact. No, this is something that
No.
is rooted in hate, rooted in microaggressions and problematic
Hmm.
behavior. I mean, we saw it on the way that they were attacking Garcelle and content
Yeah.
creators online. We
Yep.
saw how Diana allegedly thought that being a black content creator meant having a black humor, like dark humor, which
Girl,
I like.
bye. It's
Exactly.
very she doesn't speak English when it's convenient, yet she lived in London for more than she lived in Bosnia, yet she lives in America, yet she has millions and millions of dollars. Like, girl, miss me with all this. Miss
I'm an
me.
immigrant myself. I
Hmm.
moved to America when I was 13. And obviously, I came here young, and you learn the lingo and life in America. But you had lived in an English speaking country half of your life or more, because Diana moved to London and then she moved to America. And she had worked in companies that their main language is English speaking environments. So it's not like you did not know what you were talking about. You knew exactly what you were talking about. You just ignore it and decided to go for the racist attack. And
Yeah.
that's why, to me, watching this season was really hard to watch, because everything had an undertone.
Yep.
Everything had a rooted like hatred towards a group, like either homophobia or racism.
Hmm.
And I noticed that on the reunion, when
Ugh.
when Erica decided to tell the story, and I know I posted about this on my Twitter, and I got a heat from people saying, "Oh, she just repeated what Kathy said." But Erica
No, she
Jane,
shouldn't have said the word.
she should not have said the word. I don't care
No.
if it was blip. I don't care about anything. She said it with her chest open
Yep.
and with no problem.
And it
And
flowed out of her mouth.
exactly. And honestly, you can be an ally and be surrounded by LGBTQ people. You are not allowed to
Exactly.
say
I would
it. You're
never
not
say it.
allowed to repeat it,
I would
because
never say it.
exactly.
I would never say it. And you're right. And this is the thing when it comes to Diana and also Lisa Rinna, when she did the microaggression calling women hoes, when she was talking about Garcelle and we can't say anything because it'll be racism. And she's like, oh, I meant trolls and I meant haters. And, Diana, oh, black, I meant dark. But that's not what you said. People say what they mean. You said hoes because it's a microaggression against black women. Let's call a thing a thing. When you think of the word hoe, you think of the black. You think of the black woman. Just call it a thing. Black content creator, you didn't say dark. You said black. So people say what they mean, and that's straight up. And then I'll tell you, you're 100% right. What Erica did was so wrong. And I'll give you an example of the correct thing to do. Like I also do acting, and so yesterday I had an audition, and one of the words in this it's called sides, it's basically like the script, was the N word. Um, it's like a comedy. It's like whatever. It was like was the N word, but the person that I was reading with, she was an Asian woman, and so when she got to the word, she was like, "Oh, this man, this guy." Like she wouldn't say the word, and that's how you approach that. Where you, just like you said, you are an ally, but you're not allowed. Like I am an ally to the gay community, but I am not a part of it. Therefore, I am not allowed to say that word in any context, and it would never cross my mouth.
And we saw this happening on the new reboot of New York. We got the news that
Oof,
women was
Lizzie.
removed, and allegedly is also part of the issue was because the husband was repeating, quote unquote, repeating a story that included a racial slur that he said really easily. So they said, okay, no, you're too much. You guys are out. So
Yep.
that's what I'm trying to say. Like, nobody should be repeating anything,
Yep.
because it showcases that you have no problem. You're too comfortable saying it. So
Yep.
that to me reads like a character flaw that you have, and that's why when I mentioned about
Called
Erica,
racism.
exactly, exactly.
It's a
When I said
character flaw called
when I said
racism.
when I said Erica Jane shouldn't be repeating this word, a lot of people said like, "Oh, you're right." A lot of people said like, "No, you're wrong." And like, "Oh, she's an ally to the gay community." If she was a true ally,
There's
she
a difference
would
between being
know.
an ally and exploiting. Just because you exploit a culture, and there is a gay culture, but think about where we got, spilling the tea from and all of that stuff. There is such a rich life within the gay culture. You know what I mean? Completely this rich life, and even that is nuanced. You know, there's like, gay, and then there's like the trans community, and that's a whole other type of culture, right? So just because she exploits and uses the gay culture does not mean she's actually an ally to the gay culture. Because if she was actually an ally, she never would have said that word.
Absolutely.
Never. And if Andy was any type of man, he never would have allowed it. Because if I was there and she said the N word in my presence, it would have went very, very differently. Very, very differently.
I'm so happy you mentioned that too, because when I watched that scene as a gay man, I was so disappointed
Hmm.
because I expect the gay person in the room to
To be
put
the one to speak up.
thank you, and he was the
Hello?
one who was like ignoring the whole thing, and then he also made this whole key moment about the book with Garcelle,
Okay.
which
Oh, that.
that
Ooh,
was
Andy, Andy,
yeah,
Andy. We
like
might have a flipping table moment. Like,
yes. Honestly, I do not understand how he allowed A to the F word go so easily and so
hmm.
nonchalant in the conversation on the stage of the reunion without being checked. Because
Yeah.
he should have checked her in the in the moment. Not like, okay, Erica, you're not supposed to be saying
Yep.
it. You can say, as a homophobic slur. You can say the
The
F word.
F word.
It doesn't matter the impact. In this moment, you're not trying to have an. I'm going for the impact of the word. No, you already made the point. You were
Exactly.
trying to say the Kathy made a homophobic slur when she was upset or drunk at the bar in Aspen. You did not need to repeat it because to me as a gay man that was offensive. And
It was
also,
wrong.
I'm not the type of gay person who is traumatized by the word because I am an adult and I have
Hmm.
gone through life. But I do know many other gay men who are either younger or even older whom that
Hmm.
word was used against them in a
Yeah.
way that it still triggers them. So all those moments needs to be checked. In London, I have friends in London who watched the episode and the word was not blip because
Mm.
obviously the censorship in different countries is different. So in some places in this planet, that word was said on a national TV.
So sad. It's so sickening. So
So
sickening. And the thing is, she said it too casually. That's what I mean by you exploit the culture. You're not of the culture, because she said it too casually. There was no hesitation. There was no. This word feels awkward. It's like, so you play in the gay community faces. You exploit them, their coolness, their culture, their money, their cred. But yet, what do you actually say behind doors, Erica? Because it was too cute and casual. Like, if I even wanted to say the word, I think it would like catch, because it doesn't feel good.
yeah, yeah,
Miss me with that, Erica. Erica's evil.
and
Erica's evil. Diana's evil. And my bottom when it comes throughout to Beverly Hills, if they bring Diana Jenkins back, I'm not even watching. I don't care about doing it, because we all know the allegations against her, which have been out there for decades. I personally believe them. I'm not saying they are fact, because you know how she likes to sue people. I'm not saying that it's fact. I'm saying this is what my opinion is, and I'm an American citizen. I'm allowed to say my opinion legally. I believe them. And I think that now that they're out there, and if Bravo brings her back, I personally cannot support it. Just my own personal situation. I
I
don't want
agree.
Erica to come back, but I could stomach her. But Diana, I can't.
Yeah, I agree. I hope this next season does bring a shake up to the cast because it's
Me
not
too.
moving forward, it's moving backward. And
Mm-hmm.
we will not see an actual change in dynamics, a real change if they keep the same people around. And I'm
Agreed.
talking about specifically Erica, Rena, Diana. I highly doubt that she's coming back. I
I
mean,
really hope not.
she was there for like a second in the reunion, and
Yeah.
her presence was weird this whole entire season. So I don't even want to give her a second chance. I'm a big person on giving second chances to newbies, but she was not even a
Yeah.
newbie. She was unnecessary.
I agree.
But if it was up to me to change the cast, I would rather remove Rena from the equation,
I
and
agree.
I can stomach Erica just because Erica's my my dislike for Erica comes more from the way that she had handled her legal issues, not because
Hmm.
I think she was involved directly, which, there's pieces that might hint to that,
Yeah.
but I can still think that she might have not known before. She knows now though, and that's what it actually makes me really upset. That she knows now how things happen, and she still doesn't care. She doesn't give a shit. She said it on the show. I only
Yeah.
care about me and nobody else, and that's how she's acting.
Hmm.
And she is being very consistent in the way that she's been portraying herself as an evil Disney villain.
Yep.
But when it comes to Rena, if she's removed from the show, a lot of this toxic behavior is gonna be gone
I agree.
because I do believe that Erica can be a fun-ish villain for the show when Rena is just 100% toxic and really, really like bad energy. It's like a bad juju. Her and her freaking rats.
Hey, I agree. Hey, Sarah, real talk.
Hey Sarah, thank you for
Hey,
joining.
Sarah.
Elizabeth and Sarah, if you guys are watching right now, you can leave comments and also question. If you have any question for
Yeah.
us, you can leave it right here. I'll be reading it and answer them here live right now. That's the whole point. So, Candy and I will be reading your questions and answer them. So, thank you for joining today. Um, I want to ask you, what will be
Yeah.
your kind of like reboot, quote unquote, cast for Beverly Hills? Like, who you will want to watch on the show?
So I definitely want Garcelle back.
Of
I want
course.
Sutton back. I want Kathy to come back as a friend of, because I think that's the sweet spot for her. I actually wouldn't mind Kyle coming back. However, Kyle, we need a note. I have a note for you. Stop producing the show. Show up as a housewife, not as a producer. Because every time Kyle is in a scene, she's remember this happened and she said this. What do you think about that? And then what do you think about this? Remember this? And da-da-da. And it's just like let the conversations organically happen. Actually try and have friendships with these women outside of Ding Dong Dorit and let it organically unfold. Like the drama that we like to see will, because there's good drama and then there's the dark drama. The good drama will naturally and organically unfold. The problem is when you go in and you're producing and you're picking and you're pitting people against each other and you're trying to do this and that, that's when the dark drama comes in. So, Kyle, you can come back. We'll give you this season to see what you can do, but you gotta just show up and shut up and stop producing. Lisa Rinna can go to hell. Diana Jenkins can also go to hell. Erica Jane, she can come back, and I agree. I think it would be better for her to come back without Lisa Rinna. Who else is there? Crystal. Crystal could come back maybe as a friend of,
Yeah.
and see if she can like regain her diamond. Same with Ding Dong Dorit. She can come back as a friend of, but I don't think she needs to have a full diamond. There's a woman named Ursula Nesbitt that we've been talking about that might be joining the show, and she's really good friends with Kathy Hilton. I would love for her to join. She has a lot of money. She's married to a very rich, powerful man. All that we can see, their money is clean. It's not this fraudulent, ill-gotten money. She's gorgeous. She's like that Beverly Hills lady
Vibe.
who lunches. She's a
Yeah.
philanthropist, and she lunches during the day. And her husband, they go to play polo, and then they go on the private jet. And I'm like, that's what I want to watch. I want to watch these women and feel like that could be me. Like I could be at
Aspirational.
that
Yeah.
brunch table, right? Like I could be in the private jet. We could fly to Paris and try on clothes and have fun and have a kiki. Like I want to, like, that's what I want. I want that excitement back. And I think she would bring it and then bring a couple of her friends to like spice it up. Ideally, Diana, Erica, and Rena would go, but I doubt they're going to let all three go. So if we have to bring one, I would rather do Erica. And I saw that Elizabeth said that I think it was Erica Jane had a hard on for Garcelle. I think it goes back to what we're talking about when people exploit a culture, but they don't respect a culture. Like if you think about it, Erica Jane with like, all of the hair and all the styles, there's women walking around in Crenshaw with those same exact hairstyles and the same exact, you know, the labels and all of that. You're just appropriating Black culture. Like, just call a thing a thing. Like, with Black women, we've been wearing the wigs and the hair pieces and the labels and the designer clothes. Like, that is our culture that you're just appropriating. And then all of a sudden, because it was on white Erica Jane, it was like, oh my God. Do you know what I mean? Trans
Yeah.
women have been wearing the wigs and the makeup and all of that forever. So she's just appropriating Black and gay culture. And then when she's confronted with a real Black woman, Garcelle, she doesn't know what to do with it because she's been imitating it. But then when she sees a real Black queen, she cowers and she doesn't even know how to deal with the situation, right? Because Garcelle is not a pick me like a Kenya Moore situation, because Erica Jane and Kenya Moore are really, really close. But to me, Garcelle and Kenya Moore are very, very different personalities. Very, very different personalities. So when she's confronted with it, she doesn't know how to do it. And that's why she has that hard on for Garcelle. And that's why she so easily said that word, because she exploits cultures, but she doesn't actually respect them.
Yeah, it's crazy to me how, you know, especially Erica and Lisa Rinna have that in common. I feel like they have
100%.
this kind of like they want to be part of a culture that is not theirs in a way that
Mm-hmm.
is so disrespectful. And I always tell people, it's interesting how, especially Lisa Rinna fans, forget Rena's extremely problematic past, and they say, "Oh, that happened 10 years ago." I'm like, "Yeah, but she had not changed because a year
Mm-hmm.
ago we were talking about how she did not want Garcelle on the show because she didn't want to talk about the race
Yep. It's
situation.
not that type of show.
It's not that type of show, and we know exactly what she meant when she said that.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching. I always watch old clips because it kind of helped me to connect current
Yeah.
behaviors. That's how you do it, and it reminds me when she sat down with Little John, and she said like, "So why you guys are so loud? Why are you guys are always fighting on TV? What kind of show is that?" Like, I like that same conversation that she
Mm-hmm.
had with Little John right there back in the day. Maybe would have been like swept under the rug, but nowadays it's not going to happen, and that's why
Mm-hmm.
right now we are saying, yeah, what you said about Garcelle is true because you had said it in the past.
Yep.
You know, that's why we believe it. We don't just like say like, oh no, that's just like gossip. No, we believe that you said it because you had done that in the past on
Yeah.
national TV. It's not the first time. We believe it, and then you have
100%.
all, and then you have, you know, her her always supporting the problematic housewives like Diana Jenkins. I know that that's her bestie, but the moment
Mm-hmm.
that Diana made a extremely problematic comment about Garcelle, like I help your country Haiti and stuff like that on Instagram, which is was very
Mm,
disrespectful because
mm.
it showcased no respect for the work that Garcelle herself has done for her own country,
Yeah.
and like and kind of like saying, oh, that country of yours kind of thing, like that is
Yeah.
so disrespectful, um and like it was disgusting, and right away Rena jumped on the bandwagon of supporting
Mm-hmm.
Diana's comment on Instagram. So you know that they have that in their mind. I don't care how, you know, like they're like, oh, politically they're more left leaning. That doesn't count
Doesn't
when
mean
you
anything.
when you are literally saying this type of stuff on national TV and making a whole entire community questioning your position, and you always been like, okay, why do you say that and all this
Mm-hmm.
stuff, because you honestly don't know how to, you know, interact or be open to welcome people from different races or different sexuality, because you are
Mm-hmm.
so stuck in the idea that you are so progressive when you in reality you are not.
It's all for show. It's all performative.
It's
Like
all for
her,
show.
she said herself on the reunion, because of my privilege. Again, words matter. When you think about when somebody says they're privileged, what do you think? You think white privilege. So basically, what she was saying to Garcelle was, because of my white privilege, I have money and I have access to all these lawyers. So let's go after the bot people together. No, sweetheart. Garcelle has money. She has lawyers. She's doing her own investigation. And why would she partner with you when you're the one who's probably behind it? I think Lisa Rinna, Erica Jane, and Diana Jenkins got together when they went to Hawaii or wherever they went to make up all of these plans. And I think Diana bankrolled it. I think Lisa Rinna was the mastermind, and I think Erica Jane was the cheerleader. And I said this before, money does not buy self-esteem. Because let me tell you this, if I had the money Dirty Diana Jenkins has, you couldn't, no one on this planet could force me to be this mouthpiece, pick me person for the likes of Lisa Rinna and Erica Jane.
Yes.
But because you have such low self-esteem about yourself, because you're still this pick me person, you're out here suing bloggers, you're out here suing anonymous bots, you're out here doing the most to be on a reality show on Bravo when you have all this privilege, all this money according to you. Why don't you go and live your life? I would be on my own island with a Mai Tai, watching TV, doing my YouTube channel. I would not be out here suing podcasters. I would not be out here with my salacious past coming back to bite me in the butt. Maybe I'm going to go to jail for it because I bet you the feds are investigating everything. Quiet as it's kept, they always investigate. And then all of a sudden, just like Jen Shaw, where's she at? You know what I mean? I would not be putting my freedom, my reputation, my money on the line to be in a group with Lisa Rinna with her rats and her husband who's in Canada living his best life, or Erica Jane Girardi, who just got slapped with a $2.7 million tax lien and probably going to clink clink for switching out the diamond earrings, and who else knows what's going on. You couldn't, there's nothing you could say to me that would make me jeopardize all of the privilege to be picked by these chicks.
And let's remember that 2.7 is statewide, so it's not
State.
It's the
It's not
federal
even
one.
federal.
This
It's
is
the
the
state.
which means the IRS is coming right behind that one with the
Yep.
federal one, because if you don't pay your state, it's meaning that you are not paying also
Thank
your
you.
federal taxes.
Yep.
So and that's probably a bigger check than just $2.7 million.
Federal is usually bigger than the state.
Oh yeah, way bigger.
Usually.
So,
And I've been saying that since day one. I was like, if they can't get Erica on the fraud charges, because I was always, and it's all coming out, because I always have my conspiracy theories. And I was always concerned. This is my biggest concern, was that how deep and how far Tom Girardi's fraud and Ponzi scheme went, that she would not get an unbiased trial in California, in the sense that we don't know if that judge got a payout from Tom Girardi. We don't know if the other lawyer got his position because of Tom Girardi, and they don't want their dirt to go out and they're still somehow indebted to him. Like, how can you get an unbiased trial in the state that you fundamentally corrupted? You know what I mean? He had judges in his pockets, police force in his pockets. And then it came out that the top FBI, local LA FBI guy, is allegedly his love child. And the house he lives in with his mother, that $1.2 million home, Tom Girardi paid for that mortgage, and he had given her hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of the years. And she used to be a secretary. It's like, tell me you knocked up the secretary without telling me you knocked up the secretary.
that's the biggest cliche in like law firms ever.
Ever. All of a sudden she leaves the firm, and then you pay her hundreds of thousands of dollars for years and years and years, and the son looks just like him. And this is what I said. I don't work for the FBI, but if I did, if I worked for the FBI internal affairs, I would be doing a deep investigation into, his name's Donald Alway. I would do a deep investigation into him, because he used to work in the local FBI division in Mississippi. It was only this year that he transferred to the LA jurisdiction. And I would be like, why? Why would you transfer to the LA jurisdiction that you know is overseeing your alleged father, your mother's ex-boyfriend and boss, the person who bought the house your mother is living in, fraud case? That is the essence of a conflict of interest. The people under him were the ones investigating Tom Girardi. So it's like, if I have to investigate my boss's alleged father, how is that not a conflict of interest? How is that not a conflict of interest? And the LA Times broke the story. And then once LA Times broke the story, then finally he recused himself. My question is, how did he get that position in the first place? And why did he get it in the first place? Why didn't he stay in Mississippi? He is a grown man. I don't know if he's married. I don't know if he has kids, but you're living by yourself or with your family or with whomever, boyfriend, husband, wife, whatever, who cares, in Mississippi. But yet you then transferred to LA to live at home with your mother. Granted, it's a nice house, but a lot of people live in nice houses. But you moved to LA to move with your mom as a grown adult. Why? Did you want to be able to influence the Tom Girardi case? Because he was in the position to. When you're the head local LA FBI agent, everything stops with you until it trickles down.
Yes.
So did he transfer there to influence what was going on? I mean, hello. His father is Tom Girardi, allegedly.
I'm telling you, everything happened for a reason, especially in this type of cases. Nothing is a coincidence. Nothing just happened that he happens to move to LA for a random reason. No.
Thank you.
Everything happened
To move back home with his mom. Come on now.
I really hope that justice is served. I am been calling Eric Jane out since the beginning of the whole entire trial and cases and whatnot, because one thing that I hate,
Yes.
I'm not I don't care if you don't pay your taxes much, because I mean that's your personal choice,
Yeah.
and that's you and the government. That's you and the government, and I pay my taxes just to make sure that people
And
are
other
listening.
taxpayers, because when
But
people
other
don't pay their
taxpayers
taxes, we
are
suffer. But I get what
e-
you're saying.
exactly. I
Yeah,
mean,
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
when somebody's not paying their taxes, more the issue with the government.
Yeah.
But when you are involved in a case that actually affects human lives and people who need help, and you're scamming them from their money, that is too painful to even
Yeah.
think about. I always put my family in their position in the way like, no, we have never been scammed, and luckily, there's lawyers in my family who kind of explain to me all this stuff that are happening
Yeah.
with like people calling and stealing money from the elderly. I see you, Jen Shah, and also Tom Girardi's type of like
She is
person.
a dumb criminal. I don't know if you saw my deep dive on that, but when I realized what she did, I was like, you're a dummy.
And we will talk about it in a minute, because I wanna
Yeah.
wrap Beverly Hills with a bow
Okay.
before we move to Salt Lake City. But yeah, when you have somebody who is so despicable that they know what they're doing, they're stealing money from people who need it. They're stealing money from people who look for them for help. Because
Yeah.
in this case, people look for a lawyer because they were
They need
being
help.
used and abused by the system to be used and abused by the
Yeah.
lawyer. That is disgusting. And
It
then you
is.
have this person, Erica Jane, that even though on paper or like the way that we see it, she was not the person like moving the pieces and making all this thing happen, but she was the one who benefit from this whole thing the
Yeah.
most. She had a so-called music career, quote unquote. I don't know if that's music, but that's some kind of noise happening on the radio.
She had some auto tune.
Exactly. I mean, she was dancing around in WeHo in every single gay bar, and having the best life, funded by these people from the
100%.
suffering. And the fact that now that she knows where that money came from, and she still acts like she deserves some kind of like uh, compensation from this, that she deserves to be paid before the victims, or she deserves to keep what it was given to her because it was a gift. No, if you know where
No.
that came from, return that and make sure that those people are paid, and that's what we're doing. That's why I can't stand Erica Jane,
I can't stand her either. I can't stand
be-
to look at her.
because I know exactly how her look and her lifestyle was paid by, and she's still not giving a flying fuck about the victims.
She's a
We saw it on the
narcissist.
show. We saw on the show. There's not even like, oh, she feels bad. No, she does not, because the way that she reacted in Aspen, the way that she was yelling at people who were trying to save her from looking like an asshole, because Kyle might have be like, oh, whatever. She wasn't just saying it because she was so concerned about the victims. She doesn't care. She was concerned about the image of the Ford Fox 5, because Erica was
100%.
part of it, and she said like, I can't defend you anymore, meaning like, okay, now it's all on you, because I'm
Like, I'm
trying
trying
to
to calm you down.
But you're just going off and just being and showing who you are, your true colors.
Exactly. The mask came off.
That's right. So let's move on from Beverly Hills because we are gonna
Okay.
be probably on pause until January, which I'm actually happy about because we need time to breathe. We need all the shows. We need Southern
We need time for
Hospitality.
them to get casting together.
Yes, and I need Bravo to call me and call you also Candy because
I
we
would love to be
have
a
better,
producer.
yeah, we have better idea for casting than they have, and I think
Yeah,
we can create the best Real Housewives of Beverly Hills together. Because honestly,
exactly.
something needs to happen because the way that it's going is just sinking like faster than the Titanic. So let's move to Salt Lake City because that's another one that I was shocked this week.
Ooh, okay. Salt Lake City to me, it's boring. Like, what do you think? Like, I'm kind of like, I'm liking it, but I feel like it's boring, and I'm going to tell you why. It's like I don't like the fact that Meredith Mark is beating the Lisa hot mic moment to death. Like, I feel like she should have came in the first episode. She would have had her justified righteousness, her justified anger, got it out. And then I think her and Lisa should have gotten drunk and laughed and made amends. And then the rest of the season should have been them being back thick as thieves. And it would have been, Meredith and Lisa against the world. And I think that would have been way more entertaining than this boring, stale, rinse, rots, repeat, fake beef that Meredith keeps doing for a storyline. Again, it's like, look at how mad I am at Lisa. Don't actually look at my life. Because do I think her and Seth are together? I think I think they're both happy in the sense where I think they're like family. They're like familial. It's like a
They're
brother and
comfortable.
sister. They're comfortable. You do you, I do me. We'll keep up appearances to stay on this Bravo show. I don't think anybody's quote cheating. I think they have an understanding.
I agree,
Um,
100%.
and I think so. I'm just tired of that. And then also, I can't stand Lisa. I'm not Lisa. Whitney Rose, just the idiot. Like I can't. Like I want to shake her and just be like, go away. To me, Whitney just makes stuff up. She lives in her own head. She projects onto people. I don't understand what she's saying half of the time. She completely messed up the whole situation when she was talking about the Lisa rumors with Meredith. Meredith never said sexual favors. That was the implication, but that's not what she said. And I actually have a theory about what happened there. I think when Meredith said, "Oh, I heard Lisa Barlow did favors to get her tequila distributed," I think her and Jen Shaw made that up. That's why when Whitney was like, "Oh, I heard it too," she almost like spit out her wine. She's like, "What, you did?" Because it's almost like I made this shit up. Like this isn't true. But then what Whitney said was actually a different rumor. She said, "Oh no, I heard Lisa Barlow was like doing sexual stuff with some really wealthy big guy in order to get him to invest in Vita Tequila, and then it became for like tickets or something weird like that." But these were two very different rumors, and I think the rumors that Whitney got came from Angie Harrington because Angie Harrington is hater number one. I can't stand Angie Harrington. I think she made it up. I think it's really cringy and bizarre that her and her husband made up that Instagram. And like that's the thing. Bravo keeps being like, "Oh, the fans need to stop being bad on social media." Well, you got allegedly Diana, Lisa, and Erica behind Botgate. You got Angie Harmon and her husband creating troll accounts. So why don't you get your talent in order before you
That's
talk about
right.
us? Because we're not
Thank
actually
you.
doing anything on social media. We are who we are. We're talking about the show. Your talent are the ones who are creating bots and troll accounts. So get your talent together before you talk about us. And you
That's
keep
right.
talking about us, you're not going to have a network anymore. Because without us, you don't have ratings. Without ratings, you don't have advertisers. Without advertisers, you ain't got no money.
Especially you mentioned something important. Without content creators making Bravo a
100%.
talking point
Yep.
between the community because this is a community. This is
Yep.
a point where many people come together, talk about the same topics, talk about the same show because we feel like that's a connection that we have as humans. Like we have something to talk
Mm-hmm.
about because what we find on Bravo. But without the content creators creating the content that people come to and have those conversations on, there's no network because
100%.
Bravo TV without us, me,
Would be
you,
dead.
and the many great other content creators out there, even though we agree or not agree and stuff, we are creating content that keeping Bravo's lights on.
100%. Without us, the lights go all the way out. So stop coming for us, Bravo, and look in your own house and get your own
Thank you.
house in order, because that's what the problem is. And so yeah, and then Whitney, I cannot stand her. And I don't think that her husband was fired. I think that's a lie. I think they're saying he was fired because they don't want to shed light on the fact that his company is in a class action lawsuit. So I think they're saying that he was fired because they want to take the light off of the company. But he said on Watch What Happens Live, and I was like, wait a minute, that he didn't have a new job because he was in a non-compete contract. And then Andy Cohen said, oh, but you're still getting paid. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, wait a minute. So the company is still paying you? Why is the company still paying you?
That's
You see what I'm
interesting.
saying? And I'm like, why
Yeah.
is the company still paying you, but yet you said that they fired you? Like, I know a non-compete, you can't compete with competitors for X amount of months, but I didn't know that they paid you for during that time.
I
I just
highly
thought
doubt that you
that's
get
what I'm
paid.
saying. Why are they paying you? I think that they did that because they didn't, because remember on season 2 reunion, Andy brought it up. Oh, you're no, what's her name brought it up? Jen Shaw said that he had like an FTC filing against his company. And then
Yes.
Andy was like, oh yeah, your company's being sued. And he was like, oh, that was from like years ago. It's just kind of hanging out there, which was a lie. Because I did a deep dive on it. It was a current lawsuit that they had going on, and it was still in litigation
Yes.
for them basically doing like a pyramid scheme,
That's right.
which is basically what they're doing.
Yes, exactly.
It's a pyramid scheme essentially, and they were scamming and conning people, and that's what they were being sued for. But the difference with his particular lawsuit is that it was an open class action lawsuit. So I could be someone who's like, oh wait a minute, I signed up for their life advantage or whatever it's called, well, let me join that class action lawsuit, right? The more eyeballs on it, the more people who are likely to join, and the more people are likely to join, more likely you're going to be found guilty, and a bigger payout you're going to have to pay. Whereas with like Erica Jane and Jen Shaw, it's very different because they're not these big class actions. The victims are very specific. Like I can't join a fraud case against Tom Girardi. Like I can't. You know what I mean? But if I'm watching the show, I could join that one because it was a pyramid scheme. It was a multi-level marketing pyramid scheme.
Yeah, correct.
So I think that's why they're lying and saying he got fired. That's why they're like, oh, because we did this sexy scene and they're Mormons and I'm a woman. It's like, no, you already said on the show that you guys met at work when they both were married. So they had an affair at work. Neither one of them got fired. They had a divorce. Neither one of them got fired. Then they got remarried to each other and had other kids. Neither one of them got fired. Season 1, they were always wasted. Remember, they were doing those like weird kind of swinger parties
Yeah.
in the bus, and she had her boobs out, and they were getting wasted, and they were
Yeah.
dancing. She had poles everywhere. You didn't get fired for that. But now all of a sudden you're getting fired because you and your husband had some like painting excursion with your underwear on? Miss me with the BS. If the Mormons didn't fire you for having an
An
at
affair.
office affair, which ended in a divorce, they didn't fire you for this, boo boo. They fired you allegedly because they didn't want the smoke when it came to the class action lawsuit. We're not stupid.
Oof, oof.
Because the people who claim to be the most religious and pious are usually the ones with the most to hide.
Agreed.
Spirituality and religion are two different things. Your relationship with God has nothing to do with religion. Religion is just man-made propaganda, whatever it is, lifestyle you want. Spirituality and your relationship with God and your creator and your soul is completely, completely different than that. But a lot of these religions out here, it's a front.
Agree. 100%. I'm a very spiritual person.
Me
I have
too.
no religion affiliation because I do believe that every single one of uh, organized, religions are either cult or a front to, for any money laundry or anything like
Hmm.
that. I believe that to the core. If you have a connection with God or the person that you believe on,
Yeah.
the energy, the superior energy, or the creator, or whatever you want to call it, that's
Yeah.
the way that you connect with your spirituality. It doesn't have to be through a church. It doesn't
Nope.
have to be through a pastor. Doesn't have to be through a priest or anything like
None of
that.
that.
It comes from within. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the time, and I'm saying this because it happened in my family. Um, when I came out, for my mom was so hard
Mm-hmm.
that I came out that for many years we didn't talk, and the reason
Oh,
why we
I'm
did
so
not
sorry.
talk was because not because she didn't love me. She loved me,
Of
but
course.
the fact that her Catholicism made her
Catholicism.
believe, yeah, made her
Yeah.
believe that being a gay person was a sin and a mistake made by the parents. She
So she
believed
had shame.
shame. She felt like she failed as a mother. She failed as a Catholic woman. She felt her religion, her God, and she
Mm-mm.
also felt like that I was destined to burn in hell. So all these
Oof.
fears were like planned in her mind because of
Yeah.
religion. And then when she realized, and believe it or not, the funny part is when we first started talking again after many
Mm-hmm.
years of not talking, she told me the story was like a nun was the one who told her, if you love your son and you know deep inside that he's not making any mistake and he's the person that you raised, you shouldn't be punishing yourself because
Exactly.
you are removing yourself from his life because you believe that that's what God wants. That's not what God really
That's not what
truly
God
wants.
wants.
So that's what I'm saying. Religions out there are just a way to manipulate humans. It's not a true connection with God. And include that include the Mormon religion, that include the Catholic, the Christian, everybody. Because to be honest, I mean, uh, you shouldn't be molding your life by what somebody else want you to believe.
Well, I think religion has its place, right? I don't think all religion is bad. And I think that there's really great things about religion. Like there's wonderful things. There's structure, there's belief system, there's community, there's purpose. I think that there's a lot of great things about religion. I'm not talking about like cults or anything. I'm talking
Yeah,
about like religions, right? I think there are a lot of great things. But I think that like anything, as long as human beings are involved, it is corruptible because human beings are inherently corruptible. So it's
yes,
talk about a corporation or a you know, there are good things about it, but they're also able to be corrupted as well. And I think the problem is that when people think that religion or religious leaders they put them on the same playing field as God, that's when I think it gets really messed up because nobody is God and can be come before God or tell you what God wants in your heart. That's why that nun was like, "Well, you know in your heart who your son is. God doesn't love you any less. Why are you letting anybody else or any other propaganda, disconnect you from the love that you have from yourself and to your son?" So I think that religion has a role in our society, and sometimes it's a really great role. But just like anything, when it gets corrupted, when the wrong people are in power, when they use it for propaganda, when they use it for control, when they use it for manipulation, when they use it for financial gain, when they use it to abuse people, because there's a lot of sexual and physical abuse in a lot of religions,
that's true.
that is when it's a problem. But as long as people are involved, it will be corruptible because human beings, a part of our, I believe we're divine beings having a human experience, and a part of being a human is that you are flawed. It's just the level at to which you are flawed. And
Yes.
usually in any situation, not to be cheesy, but it's like, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So when you have these people in the positions of power in church, the pastor, the priest, the nun, the rabbi, I don't know what it's called in the Muslim religion, or, whatever it is, when you have these people in a position of power, people get drunk on that power. People get
That's true.
intoxicated with that power. People let ego run that power, right? So I
And
think it's more that, but you should never let religion get in the way with your personal relationship with God. Like I was out running today and I was talking to God. I was like, "Dear God, it's me, Candy. This is what I want. Let's talk." Blah, 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 blah. And I was just talking to God. You know what I mean? I talk to God all day. Like me and God are like, I'm like Lisa Barlow. I am very important to
I love
God.
that.
I'm very important to God.
And that's that is kind of like the fundamental part of Housewives of Salt Lake City. Like
Hmm.
each franchise has like their own theme or like their own reason why we watch it. And Salt Lake City has always been religion. Now that we talk about
Hmm.
religion, we also have to focus on the fact that Salt Lake City, it has Mormons, and it has Muslim, right? Because Jen Shah is she converted to Muslim, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yeah, she converted to
uh,
Muslim. Mhm.
but obviously before we have Mary, who was also, she was a leader in a church for a Christian church. So we had all religions in Salt
Yeah.
Lake City,
Yeah.
and that was kind of like the topic from season one, and it
Hmm.
has been dragged also by Heather Gay with her bad Mormon
Oh, I
situation.
can't
It's
with Heather Gay. I
exhausting.
can't with Heather Gay.
Like I'm exhausted. Like I know you're a bad Mormon, but like what else you are? Like every single season has been about like how she removed herself from the Mormon church. But like okay,
Yeah.
that's cute and all, but what else you have going on?
She
Because that's
lost
all I
me when
know.
she equated sleeping with black men to drinking and smoking. Like black men are human beings; they're not objects.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she always made comments about like how like she liked black men and all this stuff, but
Hmm.
it always sounded like a sexualization of the black man, not
A
just like an
fetish.
appreciate exactly,
Yep.
not an appreciation for black men. It sounds like fetishy, which is
100%.
not good. That's not good.
No.
That's actually rooted in racism too.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
uh,
Dehumanization.
exactly. So that's why I'm like Salt Lake City has been one of those franchises that started like okay, but like you said just now at the beginning of our conversation with Salt Lake City, it hasn't delivered as much as I was expecting it this season.
Boring. I agree. It's flat.
It is very
And I saw
flat.
everybody being like, Angie K came to play, Angie K. And I'm like, I thought Angie K was very boring and very flat. And I thought she was fake as hell. This is the thing. Let's call it anything. Angie K, you used Jen Shaw to get on the show. And trust me, I'm not defending Jen Shaw because we all know she's a fraud and what she did to the elderly. That's not disputable. She pled guilty. She's going to clink clink. However,
Clink clink.
Angie K, girl, you used Jen Shaw to get on the show. You wanted to replace her on the show. And when Jen Shaw said, I'm not done yet, I'm still here, back up the truck, then she wanted to get brand new with, the white fragility tears. And Angie K, shut up. Stop. Just stop. I was like, people are eating Angie K up. I was like, really? I was like, Angie K is not it for me. She's not it for me. She's really
I
not.
was actually kind of eating the
Go ahead, go
NGK
ahead,
cake.
go
Yeah,
ahead, go ahead.
I was kind of eating it
Yes,
because I'm gonna say one thing. Maybe
yes.
because I honestly was bored with this season that I needed
Fair,
something to happen
fair.
because I was so bored. I mean, the fact that we were talking about a choir for like 3 episodes, like honestly, Salt Lake City, what happened? Because if
I agree.
your storyline is a choir and every single like altercation or big fights happened while the choir was practicing, it was a fever dream that I'm still trying to wake up from because I did not
Not a
understand
fever dream.
why. And the fact that now we went to this trip in San Diego, at least this argument and like situation between Jensha and NGK was unexpected. I was like,
It was,
I
yeah.
was not expecting this to happen, but I'm not saying that I'm not enjoying it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that piece. It's definitely a welcomed different type of fight on the show or different type of drama than we've had. But
Yeah.
I think I still was just like, Angie K, girl, you clearly used Jen Shaw to get on the show. You clearly said, have the thing at my house because she wanted more camera time. She wanted to show off her house. She was basically auditioning to get a snowflake. Like, let's call a thing a thing.
Yeah.
And I actually agree with Jen Shaw on this. If you were going to say, I'm going to host the party, let's have it at my house, you might want to make sure you decide who's footing the actual bill. Because if you have this long-term friendship and you say, well, let me host the party, let me have it at your house, I'm thinking, okay, well, you're going to host the party. Cool. I'm not thinking you're gonna Venmo me like a request after, right? Like I'm confused. You said you wanted to host it, host it. You
Request
need
for
to
$15,000.
exactly. You need to get that situated up front, and don't hold on to it to then throw in my face later. If you
Yeah.
felt some type of way about the $15,000, you should have said something to me then. You don't hold on to it to throw it in my face later. So as problematic as Jen Shaw is, I actually think Angie K was doing the absolute most, but I agree with you. I was here for it given the context of the rest of the boringness. You know, Lisa Barlow needs to get back her spunk. They've kind of beaten her down a little bit. I love Lisa Barlow. I'm a Lisa Barlow stan, but she seems a little dusty these days because they've beaten her down so much. Meredith Marks needs to get an actual personality and a storyline. We don't care about the hot mic moment anymore. Let it go. I would rather see Meredith Marks, you know, date as a married woman in an open relationship than this crap. You know
I
what I
agree.
mean? Like, show your real life, Meredith. You know, show us you dating, showing what it looks like. You could be a first housewife with an honest, open marriage and see what that looks like. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of people who either have open marriages or are wondering, would that be right for me? That could be a whole new demographic you could, you know, show like they did in Miami. They had the first lesbian couple.
Couple,
You know,
yes.
that was cool. That was really, really cool. Like, let's see what that looks like on the show. So Meredith Marks, you're boring. Whitney, please shut up. Heather Gay does the absolute most. She's so insecure. I can't handle it. Jen Shaw's going away. She's crying. We get it. Lisa
Clink
Barlow,
clink.
get your clink clink. Lisa Barlow, get your power back. Get your spark back. And yeah, that's another thing. There's only 5 snowflakes. I think it's really hard to keep it interesting with only 5 snowflakes. So
Agree.
we're gonna have to see what Angie K, Angie H, and then this Dana character, who I don't think is a chemistry fit. She seems like she should be on like Jersey. She seems really like hood to me. Like I'm like, should you be on Jersey with like Teresa in them? Like I don't know if Salt Lake's for you, Dana. Right? She's a little hood
I
with it.
I'm waiting for Dana to like get like like crazy or like go off because I want to know what she's all about because she hasn't given me
Mhm.
enough. I don't know what to think about Dana yet. I want to get to know her a little more before I
Yeah.
say what I how I feel because she has said maybe like two things the whole entire time. We've only seen her on the camera for like maybe like 2 minutes tops this whole entire season.
Hmm.
So I don't know what to think about her. But one thing that I'm very interested to see is how this whole fight between her and Jensha happened. The one that we saw on the trailer, like allegedly she was like giving her money for a book or something, or like a business or
Oh,
whatever.
ooh.
Yeah, there is something between Jensha and Dana that is gonna like be exposed or
Oh,
explode.
very explosive. And then she goes off on her. She's like, you should pay your mom back the $1 million and you should be wearing this. It's again, they're all doing the most. And
Yeah,
it's
I
almost like, what's your storyline? What's interesting about you rather than just doing Jen Shaw explosive rinse and repeat? Like I feel like Angie K was doing like her fragility tears. Oh, Jen's so mean to me. And I feel like Dana was trying to be Jen with like the whole explosiveness. So I agree with you. I want to see more of who they are. What are
yeah.
they going to bring to the table? Like take Jen Shaw out of the equation. What do you bring to the show? Because Jen Shaw is about to be sayonara.
And when she's gone, they're not gonna be able to produce any other Gensha versus NGK or Gensha
Hmm.
versus Dana. It has to be them on their own. And
Exactly.
that's why I'm interested to see how they develop as like either friend or whatever. Because I prefer NGK or Dana to be strong characters for a
I
future
agree.
franchise than
I agree.
NGH because I honestly cannot
I can't
stand
do Angie H.
NGH. Like the
She's
fact
she's a one. She's a white supremacist in my personal opinion.
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't,
her
but
her and that other girl, January 6th insurrection. Okay, play
oh
around
my
if you want
god.
to. Play around if you want to.
Oh my god, I love this. But yeah, like the fact that she created these like troll accounts and it was so lame.
Weird.
And
It is
honestly,
weird.
NGA, you had tried 3 times to get a snowflake, and you still not even invited as a guest of a guest to a trip to San Diego. That's how important you are for the show. You're not
Exactly.
invited.
And
No,
GK, you're just not gonna you're
you're
not
not welcome
happening.
to the table, honey. Just pack it up. Pack it up. Use
Yeah.
your troll husband. Go away.
And I'm really big on loyalty, not blind loyalty, but loyalty. And I feel the way Angie H came on the scene was real messy and disloyal. Like you were supposed to be Lisa Barlow's friend for how many years? But yet you come on the scene being Whitney's friend. And that was during a time when they were beefing hard. And then you were like, oh no, me and Whitney are cousins. It's like, stop. Stop with the cousin stuff. We get the incest is real, but like just stop, okay? Just stop. With that whole situation, and then being like, you told the people not to have my party and blah blah blah. It's like, Angie, whose friend are you? Because you came on and it was like you're Lisa Barlow's friend for this whole time, but yet you came in windmilling for Whitney trying to take Lisa Barlow out. So have you always been jealous of Lisa? Have you always been a hater? And those are the most dangerous people to have in your life. The people who smile on your face, pretend like they're a friend, and the whole time they're waiting to stab you in the back. Those are the most dangerous people to have because those people will sabotage you and you won't even see it coming.
And they
She's
will
a
do
dangerous
anything.
person.
They will do
Yep.
anything to be relevant or to like have the spotlight shine on them, even
Yep.
if it means destroying your friend's life. And we've seen that
Yeah.
happening on Beverly Hills
Look at
to
Lisa
Lisa
Rinna,
Rinna.
Diana, and look at Lisa Rinna and Denise Richards.
That's
Look at
right.
Lisa Rinna and Yolanda Hadid. Look at
Lisa
Lisa
Rinna and
Rinna
Lisa
and
Vanderpump.
Ida and Sanoon. Lisa Rinna and Lisa Vanderpump. Lisa Rinna and Kathy Hilton.
Every
Lisa
single
Rinna
person.
tried it with Garcelle, but she didn't succeed, right?
That's right. So we see that happening, and I don't want those people around, and that's why
Me either.
don't want Angie H on the show because she doesn't bring anything. I mean,
She
if
doesn't.
Angie H has a fan, I want you guys to comment on the comment section and tell me why you like her because I don't understand it. Maybe you see something different, and I want to know what it is because Angie H brings absolutely nothing to the table.
Absolutely nothing. Not a
Nothing.
damn thing.
And honestly, troll account is not a storyline. It's embarrassing for a 50-year-old man to create a troll account to troll a woman. Let's
Super
call it for what it is.
embarrassing. Super embarrassing.
I was like, are we really talking about this? And the fact that Meredith and Seth did not walk away. If somebody sits
See,
down with me,
that's how you know they're real dirty. That's how you know they're real dirty and they're faking everything. Because you cannot be on the up and up and you hear that and you justify it and you stay and you're still friends. Like if I was sitting there and my friend and her husband said, yeah, we made up this fake account to troll our other friend, I would be like, and you're freaking psycho. Check. That's
no,
cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
that's right.
And probably illegal in some type of cybersecurity world, catfishing or whatever it is. Like they're cracking down on these cyber crimes. Think about
Yep.
Botgate with Garcelle and her son. They're cracking down on the cyber crimes.
I mean, think about this. I mean, he literally admitted what we're trying to figure out with Garcelle. We're trying to figure out who created these bots and who was trolling Garcelle's son, and including Garcelle too. And
Yep.
who was doing all this stuff. And then this grown ass man go on national TV and admit that he created a troll account. That's so embarrassing. I was
So
watching this
embarrassing.
show and I'm like, how and why? And the only reason why he would go on national TV and say it is with the hope that his wife get a snowflake and girl didn't even get invited to the San Diego trip. That's how unnecessary this whole
No,
thing was.
they only came out because they got exposed. Because Lisa Barlow figured it out. Remember, Lisa Barlow came and told Jen,
Yeah,
listen, it's them behind it. And Jen didn't believe Lisa. But then
yeah.
something happened where Jen got confirmation. So the only reason why they even came clean was because they got caught.
And they were hoping that it would go
And
away.
and they were hoping it would go away. Like, oh, we're saying it, we're caught, blah, blah, blah. But don't forget, Salt Lake City is actually the originator of Botgate.
Yes.
Do people not remember last season when Meredith hated Jen and she got that digital private investigator and was like, these text messages, these emails, whatever, they're coming from Jen. Jen has all these fake accounts. I got this digital private investigator, blah, 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 blah. Remember that?
Yes,
And it was
I
like,
do.
oh, these like threats are all coming from Jen. She's making all these accounts and these Twitters and these tweets and these texts and all that stuff. I was like, Salt Lake City started Botgate. You know what I mean? Salt Lake City walked so Lisa Rinna could run.
Run.
Okay.
is so true, though.
Yeah,
It's the truth.
100%. And she was like, "What? I'm not doing this." I'm like, "Jen, girl, you know you was."
I don't know what's happening in those
I
snowy
don't
mountains in Salt Lake City, but they're definitely creating those bots, and they're all about the bots.
all about the bots. And it stinks because I love Salt Lake City, but this season,
Oh,
wah, wah,
honestly, I
wah.
was so excited for them
Me
to come
too.
back because I love
Because the
Lisa
trailer
Barlow.
was great. The trailer, I thought it was going to be a hot season. Because wasn't the
Yes.
trailer really hot? But this
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah, and the funny part is like when the
yeah.
trailer came out, I was in a Clubhouse conversation. You know that
Not
app Clubhouse.
Clubhouse.
Oh yeah,
Remember that? Remember Clubhouse?
the good old days
The
of
good old days
Clubhouse.
of Clubhouse?
so, so we were chatting, and I was the only one who did not feel like the trailer was that hot. I was like, it's giving me something, but there's something that is not giving me enough. And I was like, and Heather Gay's black eye is not that interesting to me. So
Who do
something
you
is
think gave
missing.
it to her?
I don't know, but I do feel like it's going to be just an accident between maybe Heather and Jen
And
Shaw.
Jen Shaw. I think Jen Shaw is involved.
But I don't think it was like, oh, she came and punched her in the face. I think it's maybe like she closed the door, something fell on her face. It's not going to be what we people are trying to like make
Like
it to be.
make it to be, yeah.
And Bravo is really good at creating trailers to make people believe one thing. Because
Yep.
we had a whole trailer of Beverly Hills thinking that the Aspen thing was this big explosive situation, and that was
A nothing burger.
a nothing burger. And now we have the same thing with Beverly with
Ain't
Salt Lake
nothing
City.
happened in Aspen. Like not a damn.
Nothing happened.
Nothing happened in Aspen.
And now we have Salt Lake City with the whole black eye, and that's the only thing that it was focusing on the trailer. And halfway through the season, and nothing has happened,
Yeah.
and literally nothing has happened. Like nothing.
Yeah.
It's a nothing, a lot of nothing. And um, I was rooting for Salt Lake City to do well because I really like Lisa Barlow, and I don't
I
want the
love
Lisa
Lisa
Barlow show
Barlow.
to get canceled.
Exactly. I think she needs to get a little bit of that spark back and like don't let them steal your shine. Like she's still in there, but I do feel like she's like a scotch defeated. Just like a
I mean,
scotch, a little bit dimmed. And I would be too. I mean, these women are just coming at you for a storyline over and over and over again. Like, let a girl breathe.
I'm just happy that she has Whitney Rose on her side. I know you're not a big Whitney Rose fan, and honestly,
No.
Whitney Rose storyline has always been very like not that interesting. But at least this season, she
Yeah.
has Lisa's back because if she wasn't there for Lisa, I don't know what would have happened because it would be like everybody against Lisa Barlow. And
I wish Meredith and Lisa got their friendship back on track.
I said that before, and many people
I
came for
think
me.
that would have been the most interesting, fun route they could have taken. I really wish Meredith would have thought about her storyline better because I think Meredith would have been in a much better position because she's getting a lot of backlash. People are not liking Meredith Marks. I think she would have been in a much better position if her and Lisa were together.
I agree. And I mean, the hot mic thing, I keep getting asked
I'm
about
like,
it
I don't
online and everything,
care.
my opinion. And I'm like, that was so last season. Like,
So
I get
last
it.
season.
It was bad. I don't agree with what Lisa said. But at the same time, she has apologized. She's trying
Yep.
to move forward. I mean, you don't have to start as best friend once again, but you can just move on from
Yep.
it and create new memories and maybe start a friendship once again. Instead of we're beating down this dead horse that is driving me freaking crazy because it's actually sinking the show with it too. It's not that interesting.
100%. It's not that interesting. And also like I don't understand people who are like, "Oh, it's fine that Meredith, said those rumors about Lisa. She did not make moment." I'm like, "Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. Let's actually look at the situation." Lisa Barlow got pissed and popped off. However, she told no lies, and she also told no new tea. She said the same tea that we had known for the last 2 seasons. She didn't expose Meredith. She didn't tell any secrets. She literally just repeated what we already knew in just a very heated, pissed off way because she was in her feelings and she was popping off. But she didn't expose anything. That we already knew that tea. Now, Meredith Marks, on the other hand, is getting around and actually manipulating and conniving and making stuff up because, in my opinion, they made up that story about her doing, favors. And the reason why I know they lied and made it up is because, remember, Meredith Marks is a lawyer. She's very, very clever with her words, and she knows how to say something slick without being liable. That's why she said, "Oh, I never said sexual favors. I said favors," right? She made that distinction very clear. But obviously, we're going to infer you meant sexual favors, but
That's
she
right.
never actually said it. And who in the world is out here gossiping to people and they just say, "Oh, she did favors"? No, if I'm going to be like, "Girl, listen, this girl did some sexual," that's how it naturally is. Unless you're lying, unless you made it up, unless you wanted to be able to put a lie out on somebody else to get back at them because you got in your feelings because they told you about yourself, but you did it too precisely. Like that is something that Meredith Marks would say to cover her own butt. So she's not liable. Because if you out here saying somebody is basically prostituting themselves, they're doing sexual favors for monetary gain, that's prostitution, you could be liable for defamation, for slander, for all of that. But she's a lawyer and she knows exactly what to say without saying it to keep her hands clean. That's how I know they made it up. And then her reaction when Whitney said, "I heard it," she like literally spit her wine out of her mouth. She was like, "What?" Like she couldn't believe it because you made it up. You weren't like, "Oh yeah, girl, well, who told you?" Because blah 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 told me.
That's right.
And then she goes on to say, "Oh, I heard it from Jen Shaw. Isn't that convenient? Isn't that convenient? Because now you and Jen Shaw don't have a friendship, you have an alliance."
That's right.
Because Jen Shaw also needs an ally because she's out here about to go to Clink Clink. So Meredith
Clink
Marks,
clink.
you missed the mark. You should have just make Lisa eat it for like the first half of the first season episode, and then you guys kumbaya and get back together and kiki and laugh and make it a fun, light show. It would have been a very different show. The tone would have been different. It would have been light. It would have been fun. It would have been really cool. And then see how they interact with like the Whitneys and the Heathers and the Danas and the Angies and the Jens. And that would have been really, really interesting. And I think that dynamic is what is missing this season that we had the last seasons.
Agree. And it's getting to the point where it's exhausting to watch. And
Exactly.
it's we need fun housewives. We need fun housewives. I do
Hmm.
not understand why a lot of people are so um, desperate for extremely dramatic moments. We need the
Right.
drama, but the drama shouldn't be the center of like every single episode. There has to be
Exactly.
moments where we see them having a good time. We loved the first few seasons of pretty much every single housewife, the one that been
Yeah.
running for longer than just 3 seasons. I'm talking about New Jersey, New
Hmm.
York, Beverly Hills, Atlanta. Now we have Potomac because those first few like 2, 3, 4 seasons of their franchise were maybe 30% drama and 70% fun because they
Exactly.
were
Like
feeding us the
Potomac used to be
drama.
so much fun. And this season, I feel like the Housewives franchise in general might be a dying franchise.
I
Because I
can see
can't
that.
I can't think of one city that is fun and just watchable. Like Salt Lake City is boring. Potomac is going the way of Beverly Hills in New York. Dallas is gone. I mean, we got Miami, but they're keeping that on Peacock for whatever reason.
I have faith in Miami. I
I like
love
Miami. I
Miami.
like
I
Miami too.
love them. I had the best experience at BravoCon with Miami because I went to the to the Legends Ball and I
Hmm.
was sitting on aisle seat, and next to me is where they were lining up their Bravo Labs to walk to the stage. So when I saw the Miami girls coming down, I was like, I need to do something to get their attention because this is my moment to shine.
This is
Be-
my
This
moment.
is my moment to shine because I love them. So I, and my favorite is Alexia. So I was like, I need to get
Oh,
her
I love
attention somehow.
Alexia.
I started speaking to her in Spanish. I knew that I would catch her attention because nobody was gonna do that just like from the get go. She looked at me, she came over, she gave me a hug, we took pictures. And honestly, that energy they had, especially the Miami group, because that was their first time being at BravoCon,
Yeah.
because they were in pause for so many years that they weren't at 2019. So they were so overwhelmed with the love that they were being given. They were so welcoming, and Alexia was amazing. So I'm so excited for
Yeah.
next week. And trust me, we'll be talking about this because Miami looks so
Yay.
good.
I like Miami too.
So and they had that. They had the drama because last season had Alexia alone had like 20 different freaking storylines going on in her life. But as a cast, they had fun. They were
They
going
had a lot of
out,
fun.
and yeah, they had they have a fight at the table, whatever. But they still were having a good time,
Hmm.
and that was the perfect sauce to make last season so good. And
Yeah.
that's why these freaking housewives like Beverly Hills and Salt Lake City right now is they're like being so draining because the cast doesn't seem like they don't like each other.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like
There's there's no friendship there.
Especially
And
Salt Lake City, I
yeah,
feel like every single one of them hate each other.
yeah.
That's how I feel like I'm watching.
Yeah,
And it's like,
even the ones who are pretending to be friends. Like I don't think Lisa Barlow and Whitney actually like each other. I think Whitney wants to be Lisa, and I think Lisa's like, well, there's nobody else, so I'll take you. But I don't think that it's genuine there.
yeah,
That's why I want Meredith and Lisa back because they were actually friends. And I think underneath all this BS, they still love each other.
I agree. I agree. It's
Yeah.
time, and I said it. I said it on my question. They Bravo asked the question for the reunion because it's coming up. They're filming really soon,
Mhm.
and my question was for Meredith because I need to know why she can just let it go. The hot mic needs to be let go and move on and
Yep.
try to be a friend again. And people on the comment were like, "No, I would not do that." Blah blah blah. I'm like, trust me, if they did that on the show,
It would be a much better show.
oh yeah, it would
A
be fun,
much better show.
and it will send a message that says like,
Hmm.
okay, we have issues and we're gonna work on them like humans and adults
Yeah.
because
And
adults
that's
do that.
the fun of the drama. That's what makes it the light drama where it's like, oh, we have this fight, ha ha ha, we fight, and then they resolve it and then they move on. When there's no resolution,
It's a problem.
that's when it either becomes too dark and too toxic or it becomes stale and boring.
That's right. And
You
that's
need a
why
resolution.
And that's why I like family karma too. Like we were talking about that
Hmm.
before. Family karma, people watch it because it's really good. I don't
Yeah.
want it to get canceled. I love my family karma people so much because they are true friends. They are
Yeah.
true families who have issues, but they don't drag this issue their whole entire life. They
Yeah.
resolve them because that's what happened between friends. Me and my best friend fight all the time, but that doesn't mean that we keep beating the dead horse during the whole entire friendship.
Can
We
I get
talk
your
about it.
opinion on something for Family Karma real quick?
Yes.
It was they're on season 3 now, right?
Yes.
So it was during season 2 when the two guys had the beef. The one guy who is openly gay
Yes.
was saying all the derogatory things about, is it Vishal?
Vishal.
Yeah, Vishal, who is now married
Risha.
to Risha, his wife, right?
Yes.
And they had that whole confrontation. What were your thoughts on that? Because I know how I felt, but I'm not in the gay community. I'm an ally to it. But I
Yeah.
wanted to know what your thoughts on that situation was because I know who I thought was dead wrong and I know who I was rooting for.
Uh,
Do you want to know who I thought first or do you want to go first?
I'll go first
Yeah, you
since
go
you asked the
first.
question.
Yes.
Uh, I feel like as a gay man, I will not be spreading rumors about a straight guy or a friend that even, let's say, I mean, I'm not saying the Vishal is in the closet,
Right.
but in a separate situation, if I know
Yep.
somebody who is scared to come out or is not sure or is maybe bisexual, we don't know,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't want to, talk about it to the world, it's not my place to start those rumors or start that conversation. It's that other person's place, is their journey.
Yep.
So this, I know I forgot his name right now, but the
Dylan
openly,
or Dylan?
I think it's that Dylan or yeah,
Dylan.
something like that. I
Dylan
forgot.
like that, yeah.
Yeah,
Dylan, yeah.
he started the rumors, and that was dead wrong. And he kept saying it was
Yep.
just a joke because they're so close.
No.
And like, no, that is something that is a defamation of a character, and you
Yep.
don't want that, and you don't want to use your own sexuality to make somebody else feel even more upset about being around gay people because that can push
Mm-hmm.
somebody away from the community, that can push somebody away from being an ally because you're not respecting their space. So how do you
Yep.
expect them to respect yours?
I agree with you 100%. I was like, justice for Vishal. Like, why was even anybody trying to, say, oh, Vishal, you overreacted? No, he didn't.
No,
Dylan was dead wrong. You
dead wrong.
you don't say those things, and what he was saying was just so rude. And then he weaponized his own sexuality. Well, is he threatened because it's coming from me? No, he's not. It has nothing to do with the fact that you are gay. He's not threatened by that. He's hurt because
Yes.
you're his friend. And you would think that your friends would be a safe space. He's like, everybody else is making jokes. Well, yeah, the world might be against you, but you expect your fans and family to be for you. So it hurts even more when it's coming from your friend who is saying these evil and nasty and malicious things. It's like you're taking somebody's sexuality or alleged sexuality or may not, whatever it is, and you're weaponizing it and you're acting like there's something wrong with it.
And it can be destructive. I mean,
Very destructive.
you don't know what words can do to somebody. Not just like, not,
Exactly.
and I'm not just talking about reputation. I'm talking about
Mental health.
mental health.
Mental
Exactly.
health, 100%. It's like when we're talking about when Erica said the F word. You don't know what that felt like for people.
That's right.
You don't know how triggering that is for people.
A
And
hundred
you're
percent.
supposed to be Vishal's friend, and you're up here saying this and laughing and saying he's doing this, that, and the third. And also how disrespectful to his fiance, now wife.
That's right.
What about her feelings?
I
You know,
agree.
if somebody was out here saying that about my partner, I'd be like, excuse me, no, you know what I mean? It's like, what? Because again, just because it's same sex doesn't mean it is less than heterosexual sex. You know, people are like, oh, it's just a guy and a guy, or oh, it's a girl on girl, it doesn't make a big deal. No, love is love and sex is sex. Homosexual, bisexual, transsexual, heterosexual, it's all equal, it's all the same.
Yeah, agree.
So if you cheat on me with a man, it's still cheating. You cheat on me with a woman, it's still cheating. You cheat on me with a trans person, it's still cheating because we are all equal.
That's
And
right.
no type of love or no type of sexuality is dismissible. People love to do that. Oh, we're just talking about him hooking up with a guy, or it's just blah blah blah. No, 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 no. If we want to have equality, all love has to be equal. So my love, just because I'm straight, is not more meaningful than somebody's love who's not straight. And their love doesn't deserve to be dismissed or just people fetishizing it, or if they're just them playing around. It doesn't matter.
Or using it as like an item. Like, oh,
Yeah.
he just maybe it was just one time. No, it's still one time. It's an experience
Mhm.
that involve emotions and physical emotions to us. I mean, like like emotion, like like love or whatever, or physical emotion, like the interaction between the two bodies. So I agree. The moment that those rumors were thrown on family karma by this person, he's not only, like I said, he's not only putting Bischoff's reputation in people's mouths. He's also putting his relationship with Risha in a
Yep.
place where it's gonna bring some toxic energy that was not necessary in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, like I said
100%.
before, like nobody is nobody, gay or straight or no, nobody is in the place to out somebody else or take that from somebody else. And I'm not
Yep.
saying that Vishal was in the closet. Once again, I want to repeat that because I
No,
want to
yeah, we're
make
not
this
saying that.
clear.
Yeah,
But
we're
in a
not
different
saying that.
situation where there might be a gay person knowing that
Hypothetically.
that a friend actually is having those feelings,
Mm-hmm.
that gay person has no right to push them out of the closet or put those words out in the world, because that is supposed to be a confident moment between two friends. So when you
Yep.
asked me the question, I was like, I kind of knew exactly where we were going.
Yeah.
And that's why I said, let me answer first, because I wanted to make sure that you knew that it was coming from a gay man saying what this gay person did in this show was
Yeah.
completely wrong and not for it.
No, I hear that. And also, like, even beyond the gay, it's like he was at that point engaged, now married. So you're out here saying he's cheating on his fiance too. So it's again, it's not just like, oh, it's just the gay part. It's just like, no, sex is sex and love is love. So you saying that he's sleeping with other men, you're still saying that he's cheating.
Cheating.
You
That's right.
know, that's a whole nother aspect. Like, say someone was out there be like, oh, Candy was doing this and this with a guy, that would me be cheating. Oh, Candy's doing this with a girl, that would still be me cheating.
That's right.
And that's a whole part of it too. And you're supposed to be his friend. It was just so disrespectful on so many different levels. It was just a lot. It was a lot. But I
Did
agree with you 100%.
do
And I
you watch
wanted
the
your
wedding?
opinion.
Oh, thank you.
I'm still on season 2.
Well, when you watch the wedding, message me or something. We'll talk about it.
I will.
It's a beautiful wedding. You're gonna
I
love it.
will. I will.
Um, let's talk about Potomac real quick.
Okay.
I want to get that one out of the way too.
Okay.
'Cause that was a lot.
Oh, Potomac. I get so much heat because I don't think there's colorism on Potomac.
Oh, you think there's no colorism in Potomac?
No, I don't.
I,
And I get so people get so heated with me. I'm like, calm down. This is my personal opinion, everybody. Cool the jets. Cool the
yeah,
jets.
I see that conversation a lot online. I usually
Yeah.
don't try to get involved in it because as a Spaniard
Right.
gay man, I mean, I do understand this concept of colorism because within the Hispanic community there's
There's
a lot of
colorism. There's
colorism, a lot
colorism.
of it.
Yeah, I was about to say there's a lot of
A lot,
colorism.
especially
Yeah.
when your family from Spaniard, which is technically European centric, with technically white,
Yeah.
with a mom who's Colombian, who's Latin American. So I seen the colorism in within my family. I still don't
100%.
insert myself in a colorism conversation when it comes to the black community because it's not the same experience.
It's
So it's
very
not for
different.
me to be talk about it.
Yeah.
But I'm always interested to know those points of view because I like to learn. I like to do better as a human being, and I think
Yeah.
the only way to do better is by listening people experiences and see how people think. Um, Potomac to me is being I love Potomac as a whole, like the franchise, the cast. I mean, I like ones more the other ones. I like Karen. I like Candace. I like sometimes I like Ashley. I'm not a big fan of Giselle and Robin. I feel like they do too much sometimes. Mia is usually in the middle with Wendy, but this season I'm more Team Wendy than Team Mia
Team
because
Wendy too.
I understand that the toss of the glass of water and the way that she reacted is natural. I mean, if somebody tossed a glass of water at me, and not, I mean, I would have done more than just say what Wendy said.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, it was not Mia's place to go to Patricia because Patricia wants to be involved,
Oh God,
aka
Patricia.
Peter.
Peter Patricia Thomas.
He wants to be involved in the women's business, even though
Exactly.
Nini told him.
Stay out of women's business, Peter. You want a peach?
Are you Peter or Patricia? Because
Are
we
you
need to
Peter
figure
Patricia?
this
We're
out.
gonna figure this out.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, it was not up to me to go to Peter or Patricia to talk about the business between Peter and Wendy, and then
Yep.
she came to the table all like upset
Ooh, I
about,
got some tea on you.
yeah, and then she tossed the glass of wine, and
Yeah.
to me that moment it annoys me because I know a lot of people say like, oh, that is just that just typical housewife behavior. It's like, yeah, but we need to talk about it. I'm not saying,
Yeah.
oh, fire me or whatever. No, I'm saying we need to talk about it because it's not normal for
Yeah.
somebody else to grab a glass of wine and touch somebody else because they're upset.
No,
Normalizing the type of violence is not okay.
it's not
And
okay.
and seeing how Wendy reacted to it, like, removing herself from the situation, she packed her stuff and go. That's what I would have done too, because I'm not
Me
gonna
too.
stay in a toxic environment because somebody else who's hosting, the trip, just literally physically abused me.
Yeah, I agree. I
So
agree.
that dinner was, I was like, oof, this
It
is
was rough. It was
rough.
rough. And there was a dark energy to it too. Because
Yes.
again, it's very much these women don't like each other. And that's why I don't see. So for me, the reason why I don't see colorism is because I think it's more of these women are just mean and they just like who they like and they don't like who they don't like. And that's just pretty much what it is. To me, the colorism aspect has to be I don't like you because of the color of your skin. However, I think what it boils down to is they just don't like you, period. We've seen Giselle and Robin go off on Karen. They did the whole thing with Uncle Ben's. They made the t-shirts. They talked about the tax liens. They said she was cheating with Blue Eyes and the security guard. They've dragged Karen through the mud. Karen is just as light as them, if not lighter. They've dragged Mia through the mud. They talk about Mia lying about cancer, lying about her age, calling her, lying about being a prostitute or a stripper or
Stripper.
whatever it is. They've dragged Mia through the mud. They've dragged Ashley through the mud. Ashley talking about Michael Darby and all of this, that, and the third, questioning about the house and all of this stuff. They are equal opportunist mean girls. I don't think it has to do with the shade of the color of their skin. Their team Charisse. Charisse is on the browner side versus Karen when Karen's on the lighter side. I think it just boils down to exactly what Robin said when she was in the confessional. She was like, I just don't like Wendy. And that's why she was on Mia's side. I don't think she actually likes Mia either. She just likes Wendy less.
Less.
And that's why she's on Team Mia. But they talk about Mia like a dog. They do all of that stuff. I don't think that it's colorism. I think that's an easy go to just because you see what they look like, but I don't think it is. And I think it really I think there's hypocrisy. They're like, oh, when Wendy does this, they are mad, but when this person does it, yeah, because think about you in your own life. If I like you and you do something shady, I'm more likely to get over it and accept and move on. But if I don't like you and you do something shady, I'm more likely to hold a grudge. I'm more likely to call you out on it. That's just how people are. There is hypocrisy 100%, but there's hypocrisy everywhere. And again, as long as you have human beings, you're going to be hypocritical. You're going to be biased. You're going to like who you like. You're going to not who you not like. But I don't think it's rooted in the color of their skin. Versus, I don't know if you watch Basketball Wives. That to me was a clear example of colorism. They were being very disrespectful and racist or colorist against this woman named OG, and she's from Nigeria, I believe. They were sending her monkey emojis. They were talking about her body and her figure and all of this stuff, and they were being very, very disrespectful. To me, that was very much, I think you're less than me because of your features, because of your African features, because of your skin color, and that's why I'm treating. But just because a light-skinned person, dark skin, does not mean it's. Well, is that my internet? Oh yeah, does not mean it's colorism. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't think that's true. Like when Candace was like, "Oh, it's colorism. That's why I can't say something and they say something that's horrible." Candace, I like you more now, but to be honest, it wasn't colorism. It was likability. You just were not a likable person, Candace. You were mean. You were mean to the people on the show. You always talked about your mouth. You were mean to people online. You said a lot of homophobic things yourself, Candace. You were a double disaster on Twitter and all that stuff. You threatened Karen. You said you wanted her to like die and go to hell and all this crazy stuff, to the point where she had to go to Bravo and say we need to do a wellness check on this chick. So Candace, it was you. You were just not likable. And just like I said, people let other people get away with because of likability. It's not always about race. It's not always about sexuality. On the flip side of that, I believe colorism is real. Racism is real. Homophobia is real. Religion bias is real. All of that is real. But it doesn't mean that that's what's happening here. And I just personally don't think the issues that women have with Wendy or with Monique or with Candace has to do with the fact that they have a darker shade of skin. I just think it's who I rock with and who I don't rock with. I also think there's intimidation there. I think Robin and Giselle are very bitter. I think they're very miserable. I don't think they're happy in their own lives. So when they see another woman, who has, like Wendy or not, her and Eddie, beautiful marriage, beautiful children, so supportive. She has it going on, her 4 degrees. Wendy, sometimes she's a little irritating, but overall, beautiful woman, beautiful family, super educated. And she has a lot of what they don't have.
I agree.
And so there's a lot of jealousy there. But I don't think the jealousy or the not liking has anything to do with Wendy's skin color. And they're equal opportunists. They went down, they tore Ashley down, they tore Karen down, they called Mia a whore and everything else in the book. I don't think it has anything to do with the shade of the skin color. I think they're just mean, bitter Bettys.
Yes, I agree. Giselle and Robin especially had gone hard on every single person on that show, and I
Yeah.
noticed that. And they pick and choose who they go against each season. It's kind of
Yeah.
like I said before in my previous podcast. I do believe, I'm not saying that this happened,
Right.
but I do believe that Giselle, Robin, and Ashley sat down one day before production started and he said, "We're gonna go after Candace and her marriage,
100%.
and we're gonna bring this to the table and we're gonna talk about it." That's why we had the fourth wall broken in that episode
Yep.
when Giselle sat down with Candace and she looked into the camera. We're not doing this
Yep.
because right away she knew what they were doing,
Yep.
and they keep bringing it up, and then producer being messy, they keep checking the ladies. Like Mia kept saying that Chris was looking at her the whole entire time, and they keep showing Chris is not
Yeah,
looking
Christian is not looking at you, boo boo.
because they're starting to feel okay. This is production in their head. Like they're producing the show. They want to produce the show. We're gonna keep them checked. And I'm liking that because they
Me
need
too.
to start doing that a little more on Beverly Hills too. They need to keep them checked,
Keep the receipts.
keep the receipts.
Keep the receipts. Roll the beat.
Because
Roll the footage.
yeah, do agree that they sat down one day and they decided who they were
Oh,
going against.
100%. They've done it in the past. And that, see, that's the thing though. Candace is like, oh, it's colorism. No, Candace, you were a part of that last season when they went after Monique and Chris and their baby. Candace was a part of that group where they all sat around talking about, we're going to go after Monique this season. We're going to say that she was cheating with the personal trainer, that the baby she had isn't actually Chris's, that she didn't have a miscarriage. She had another elective thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Blah, 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 blah. Candace, you were privy to that conversation. So was it colorism then when you were included, or is it only colorism now because now you're the target? That's why I'm like, I don't think that they got together and said, let's go against Wendy because Wendy's darker than us. No, they're going against Wendy because they don't like her.
Yeah.
And she read them for filth last season. Wendy read them for filth, told them all about themselves last season when they were going after her and Eddie. And so it's get back. I don't think it has anything to do with the shade of their skin. Did they say, oh, let's not, send the pizza to Karen's house because we want to expose she's not really living there? Oh, let's not do that because she has light skin like us. No, they sent the pizza there trying to clown Karen. Oh, let's not talk about Ashley Darby and Michael cheating in the hotel rooms and, his sexuality. We want to be sensitive to that and all of that stuff because Ashley is light skinned like us. No, they went after Ashley hard. I just don't see it as a color issue. I just see it as a mean girl issue. Just like Robin said, she goes, I don't like Wendy. And I also don't think it's rooted in a subconscious bias because sometimes we can have subconscious biases, right? We can say, oh, I don't like this person. I don't know why. Is it because they're gay? Is it because they're black? Is it because they're white? Is it because whatever? I don't think it's that either. I think the simplest answer is usually the right one. They just don't like you. And that's what it boils down to. They are miserable women who are very bitter, who are very resentful about the way their lives turned out. Because if you look at their lives, they don't have anything going on. None of them have a functional man in their relationship. I don't know what's going on in their finances. Look at look at Giselle's house. What the hell's going on there? It was exposed that Robin is the only name on the house because Juan's name isn't on there for whatever foreclosure reason. What's going on with Juan and his whole lawsuits and who he's actually living with and who he's actually with. I think they're very bitter women. And I think that anytime they see another woman that threatens them, they go after them. But I don't think it has anything to do with the color of their skin.
Agree. Well, yeah, I see your point. I think you are 100% right on that one. It has been happening every season. They pick one person, they go after that person.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can see how not necessarily the shade of their skin is involved in the selection of who they're going after.
No, it's just who do I rock with, who do I don't rock with, who's a pick me, and because also let's not forget when Wendy first came on the scene, she was cozy with Giselle and Robin because when Wendy first came on the scene, she was very pick me. She was like, oh, I'm Wendy, I'm 4 degrees, I'm this. She was very buttoned up and blah, 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 blah. And she had no problem shading Monique when they were going after Monique. She was team Green Eyed Bandits. But then when second season rolled around, when Wendy got, not the second season, but Wendy's second season on the show, Wendy came brand new. Then she was just like, hey, look at me, look at my new boobs. I'm wearing my Fashion Nova. I'm this Wendy, blah, 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 blah. She got very brand new. She found her voice and she was no longer a pick me. And she was also closer to Karen. Because like I said, they were going after Karen for a very, very long time. And they're still going after Karen, particularly Giselle. And Karen is just as light as me and all of them. And they were always going after Karen, and Wendy was on Karen's side. And that's when they started being like, well, who's this Wendy? This wasn't Wendy last season. So if Wendy had stayed a pick me, they would have stayed friends with her. If they could have used her and manipulated her, they weren't like, no, Wendy, you can't hang out with us because you're too dark. No, they were totally fine. But the moment Wendy found her voice, because they don't like anybody who has their own voice, that's when they started flipping on Wendy. So I don't think it has anything to do. And they were friends with what's her face, with Katie. You know, Katie's a darker, she's not even, and that's the thing. All of these women aren't even dark. They're like brown.
Yeah.
You know, they have the light-skinned green-eyed bandits, and Karen and Ashley, they're much more lighter-skinned. And then you have Charisse and Wendy and Monique and who's the other one? I forgot. But they're more like even brown. They're not even like dark-skinned women. So I'm also kind of like, like to me, it's just not tracking. I think it was something that Candace put out there, and Wendy also kind of like joined that bandwagon. But I don't think it has, on a gut level, it doesn't track with me. On a gut level, I just don't feel it, and I don't see it. And I also think it goes back to anytime someone doesn't like you, you want to know why. That's just who we are as humans being. Why don't you like me? Because it's hard to digest and just accept. Some people just aren't going to like you no matter what. No matter what your skin is, no matter how nice you are to them, no matter what you say, no matter what you have, there are people who are just not going to like you simply because they don't. But our mind always wants to find a reason. Well, you don't like me because am I fat? Am I too fat? Am I too thin? Do I not have enough money? Do I have too much money? Am I too black? Am I too white? Am I not this? Am I not that? Our mind always wants a why. And at the end of the day, people just don't like you because they don't like you. And it usually is rooted in their own stuff, and it has nothing to do with you. That's why I don't think it's colorism. I think these women are just so sad in their own lives that they want to look at targets. Like, look at Monique. Monique had 4 houses. Remember, she was like, I got 4 homes. And she has beautiful Chris and her beautiful children, and they had their money and they're doing those things. I think they go after women that they actually wish they had what those women have. Look at Karen. She had Ray, the beautiful children. You know, she has the marriages and the man that they all want. You know what I'm saying? They went after her. They're only hanging out with Charisse because Charisse is just as dry and pick me as they are. And they're only placating to Mia because Mia's being a pick me and she's doing their bidding and being their mouthpiece. Look how Mia straight up lied on Chris because she thought it would look good to the green-eyed bandits. She was like, oh, he was looking at me at the spring party. Robin was like, he was? The producers were like, no, he wasn't. You know what I mean? And then later on, she came out, oh, no, that wasn't true. I was saying because I look so sickly. It's like, Mia, girl, bye. You only made that up because you thought it would make you look cool when Robin was saying that was what Giselle was saying, because you were being a pick-me. That's why they chose Mia's side over Wendy's. Not because they actually like Mia, because they don't. They came out guns blazing. You're lying about your cancer. You're lying about your age. Why are you on social media doing the most? What's the deal with G? Blah, 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 blah. What's the deal with your money? Da, 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 da. Oh, were you really just, a bottle service girl? Or were you, stripping it and popping it and locking it for money? Da, 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 da. They are really rude to Mia. They talked about all of her plastic surgery. She talked about the plastic surgery and that. And Mia is lighter than they are. Like, actually lighter.
Yes.
So I don't think it's colorism. I think that these are just bitter women.
You said something very important. They go after somebody who's either more successful in the definition of success, or in their marriage, in their careers and stuff like that. Because that's one thing that I did like on that conversation between Wendy and Mia after the whole tossing the wine, when she checked her, she said, like, I'm a professor. I was the first black female in the university. I was the first, and I was the youngest, because those are true credentials. Those are achievements. That is success. And sometimes you need to be reminded that you're not talking to just some random person.
Exactly. Put some respect on my name.
That's right. That has a bedazzled company for stuff that's cute and everything, but it's not a freaking diploma that you have hanging
You
on
got
the
you got you
wall.
got some arts and crafts, okay, sweetheart. You got arts and crafts on an Etsy site. Like, shut up, girl.
That's right. So I mean, we need to put that into perspective. I mean, Wendy
Exactly.
has had achieved
Hmm.
very important things in society. She's a political commentator.
Yep.
She has a lot of stuff going on. She's not the typical housewife that's at home being fed by their husbands.
Yep.
She has a very successful life. She has a beautiful family, and I can see how some of the other ladies, Giselle and Robin, can be
Yep.
jealous of that.
100%.
And obviously they pick whatever it's ready to join their like conversation against her,
Hmm.
like Mia in this case, because like you said again, last season they were going really hard on her
Yep.
because the whole stripping and
Hmm.
questioning her family and where her money was coming from,
Yep.
and how they were spending it, or who was G, or how they met, or whatever. I mean, they had gone after Mia really hard. So
Very
that
hard.
is correct. And even this season, they started, blaming her about faking a cancer,
They called
and
her a
questioning.
liar.
Yeah,
Wendy, and that's the funny part. Wendy was defending Mia against the Green Eyed Bandits.
that's
Remember?
right.
That's how when Robin was like buffing up and then Therese had to pull her back. That fight was over Mia
Yeah,
because Wendy was like, oh, it was the way you brought it up to her. And Robin was like, no, you think she's a liar too. You think she's a liar too. That was Robin and Giselle going after Mia, and that was Wendy defending Mia. And that's why
that's
they
right.
got into that fight. So how is
Okay.
that colorism? It just blows my mind. It just blows my mind. It's almost like Black women. We are the rainbow. Obviously other nationalities are too, but we are the rainbow. And just because there are lighter shades that are not liking darker shades does not make it colorism. It exists, it happens, but I don't feel it on a gut level with this. I don't feel it. And trust me, I've seen it. I've lived it. I've experienced it. I just don't feel it on a gut level. And I've seen it on other franchises and other shows. Basketball Wives. That was 100% colorism. Ain't no bones about it. You sending me monkey emojis? That's 100% colorism because you know what a monkey emoji stands for.
Yeah,
But this, I don't think that they don't like people because of the shade of their skin. I think they don't like people because they're miserable and jealous.
true.
And the reason
Ah,
why they rock with Ashley is because they don't respect Ashley the same way. They think, oh, Ashley laid on her back and married a rich old white man who is weird and shady. They clown Michael, they clown her marriage. So they don't really respect her in the same way that they secretly, even though they go after, respected a Monique or respected a Wendy, right? Because they had their own businesses. They have these like loving marriages, right? They've had like these families. They actually have like the money that they help to make themselves. Monique had the stuff. She had her own businesses going on. Mila Eve and her 4 homes and all of that stuff. Chris was loyal to her and devoted to her, right? So they
yes.
go after the people that they're jealous of. I don't get how
Agree.
that's colorism.
And that's why I'm not a big fan of Robin and Giselle, because not
Ugh.
only not only they try to produce the show all the time, they want to be like the head, you know,
HBIC.
exactly,
But yet
of the
they have
group.
no man and no money. I'm confused. You don't have the housewife credentials. Like the
Love
basic
it.
things for a housewife, a man and money, you ain't got neither. I'm confused. You
Maybe
barely have a personality and you don't got fashion.
maybe they should. Oh, the fashion. Oh
Oh, the
God,
fashion.
no.
How dreadful. How dreadful.
I poor Giselle.
Oh my
Fashion hates
God.
her. That's what's happening. She thinks fashion love
And
her, but
I remember
fashion
her
truly
skunk
hates
wig.
her.
I was like, who did you piss off on your team? Like because who told you that was a good idea, Giselle? Like who on your team did you piss off? And they're like, oh, you want to play with us? Here's a skunk wig. It looks great. Go on national television looking like a damn fool.
I have like secondhand embarrassment every time I see her because it's so bad. Like
Can't.
I never seen one look of Giselle that I say like, oh my gosh, she's rocking it. None one. Not even like
Not Nan one.
she went to Portia's wedding and that did not. It was like an.
Oh
I think
God. And her
it was
boobs
like
were
a
saggy,
traditional Nigerian
and her boobs
wedding.
were like pancakey. They're
She
pancakey
looked
saggy.
like
They
she
look
was
so
going to
horrible.
she was looking like she was going there as like a flamenco or something, like a
Okay, I can't
flamingo.
see near now.
Oh God, it was so horrible. I mean, I truly believe that fashion hates Giselle, and she's trying to
Hmm.
love in it. And I know fashion is like literally it's a decline card. Like no, it's not happening.
Yep.
Um, and maybe she should focus on just rebuild her house. Like just focus on that storyline and then start messing with somebody else's home.
Yep.
um, Candy, last words.
Yes.
Anything that you wanna say to the viewers? Anything you wanna share with us? Where we can find you? Because obviously I know where to
Yes.
find you, and I'm gonna send you another invite because there's more to talk about.
So much more to talk about.
This is going to have a part two because we have more shows to talk about in the
Yes.
future. So, um, I share with the world right now. This is your stage. Go ahead.
Yes. First thing I want to say is thank you, Eddie. I've had so much fun, and hello to everyone here. And if you want to find me, I am on YouTube at Candy Washington. You can go ahead and subscribe. You can also connect to me on Twitter and Instagram, also at Candy Washington. If you want to watch my movies or buy some of my books and pick them up, you can go to candywashington.com. I have 5 books available, and my movie is called Narcissist, and that's available on Amazon Prime Video and on SoFi TV. I also have a self-care and wellness podcast called Sugar Pills, a practical guide to self-care. That's on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast. So if you're into pop culture and self-care and wellness, I am your girl. So head over to candywashington.com and everything is there.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Candy, thank you so much for accepting my invitation. Trust me, you're
Yes.
gonna get a
Oh, and
second.
shout out to Sarah Real Talk. Mwah, and shout out to Elizabeth Hernandez. Thank you for joining us. Shout out to both of you. Love you both. Mwah.
Yes, thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for all the chat. I was reading all the comments right here,
Yes.
and we love all this interaction. Just know that we were reading every single one of your comments.
Mm-hmm.
And Candy, once again, thank you for the comment.
Yeah.
You're gonna get another invitation on your email very soon because we have a lot of the show to talk about.
And
We
I
don't
would
have,
love to have you on my show.
of course, you know
Oh
where to
my
find me.
God. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Come on my show too. Yes, yes. We'll have to do a collab. You have to come on my show too because they're going to love my candy canes. Are going to love you.
I love that. Well, Candy, have a great weekend,
You
and let's
too.
chat soon, okay?
Perfect. All right. Bye.
Bye. Okay, besties, that was all for tonight. We had such an amazing conversation. We talk about Beverly Hills, we talk about Potomac, we talk about Salt Lake City, and we dive into serious topic. We talk about colorism, racism, homophobia, and all the the problematic topics that we had noticed that is been happening on all these franchises. So please, you know where to find me. But if you don't know where to find me, you can find me on podcast platforms like Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio. You can find me on Twitter at Martini with Eddie, Instagram Martini with Eddie, also on YouTube. I'll be here next week recapping of the shows, and I'll be have more guests. Next week guest is Aja from the Real Girlfriends in Paris. So get all your questions ready because it's going to be a juicy one. Thank you so much, you guys. Bye, besties.